Welcome to C News, your go-to source for the most captivating and thought-provoking stories. Our platform dives deep into the stories that matter, from the latest in global affairs to the most intriguing figures making headlines today. We don't just scratch the surface, we dig into the heart of every narrative, offering you the kind of insight and analysis you won't find anywhere else. One of our latest explorations centers on the relentless and unfair media frenzy surrounding Meghan Markle, a woman who, despite her many accomplishments, has faced unimaginable scrutiny simply for stepping into a royal role that was never quite designed for someone like her. Her story is a reflection of the broader issues we address: race, class, and the dynamics of power, all through a lens that challenges the status quo. At C News, we believe in telling stories from all angles, revealing the complexities that make each situation unique. Meghan's journey is just one example of the kind of in-depth coverage you can expect. We aim to shine a light on the stories that are often reduced to soundbites and headlines, offering a richer, more nuanced perspective that asks the hard questions and refuses to simply go along with the narrative. Whether it's the world of celebrity, politics, or social justice, we're committed to giving you the whole picture, not just the parts that fit neatly into the prevailing narrative. So, if you're looking for coverage that goes beyond the typical news cycle, if you're tired of the same repetitive stories told with bias and simplicity, then it's time to subscribe to C News. Don't miss out on the stories that matter, told with the kind of depth and integrity you deserve. Join our community today and stay informed with the most comprehensive, thought-provoking content out there. The hate for Meghan Markle, often masked under the guise of concern or disappointment, is as unfair as it is predictable. From the moment she entered the royal family, Meghan became a lightning rod for criticism. Her every move, every word, and every gesture was examined under a microscope, dissected with an intensity that few public figures could ever endure. What's remarkable, though, is not just the degree of vitriol directed toward her, but the consistency with which it has occurred. No matter how much she has tried to integrate into the world she married into, it's almost as if her very existence, as a biracial American woman who dared to step into the halls of British royalty, was a threat to an institution that prided itself on tradition and a very specific image of what royal life should look like. Meghan didn't fit the mold, and that was precisely the reason why so many found her presence problematic. She wasn't just the other, in the traditional sense of someone coming from a non-royal background. She was an other, in the eyes of the British tabloids and the public for reasons much deeper than her family tree. She was the embodiment of change, of a new world where the outdated norms of privilege and pedigree held less sway. From the onset of her relationship with Prince Harry, the negative attention was almost inevitable. The British tabloids, hungry for controversy, eagerly latched onto every detail of their courtship. Meghan's every outfit, every word, and every expression was scrutinized. The fact that she was an American actress didn't help either. Hollywood, after all, was hardly considered an institution of high society by those who adhered to the conservative values of the British aristocracy. Her American heritage made her a foreign element in an environment where ancestry was king, where history could be traced back centuries, and where bloodlines were considered sacred. Yet, it wasn't just Meghan's background that was under fire. Her personality, her choices, and her public image were relentlessly attacked. The media painted her as difficult, a diva, and someone who sought to upend the very fabric of the monarchy. The royal family, which had long been seen as a symbol of calm and decorum, was suddenly threatened by someone who dared to step out of line. Meghan's confidence, her outspokenness on social issues, her ability to take up space in the room, all of these things were twisted into evidence that she wasn't suited to royal life. She was, in essence, too much of herself, and that was deemed unacceptable. It's almost as if Meghan's presence was a reminder that not all people would conform to the ideals of the British royal family, and that, for some, the idea of royalty itself was being redefined. She wasn't the pale-skinned, demure princess the world had come to expect. She was a woman with a voice, with an opinion, and with the audacity to demand respect. And for some, that was a threat. As the relationship between Meghan and Harry progressed, the media's disdain only grew. Every bit of drama, every rumor, and every conflict was magnified and sensationalized. The couple's decision to step back from royal duties was seen as a betrayal. It was as if the desire to live a life outside of the royal spotlight was an insult to the very idea of monarchy. And yet, who could blame them? The couple had faced a relentless onslaught of negative press, from accusations of hypocrisy to criticisms of their lifestyle choices. They were painted as selfish, ungrateful, and, in some instances, even cruel. In reality, they were simply two people who sought privacy, peace, and a life free from the constant scrutiny that came with their royal status. The unfairness of the hate Meghan received lies not just in the fact that she was condemned for daring to be herself, but in how the media and the public failed to see the systemic forces at play. The way Meghan was treated was not just a matter of personal dislike or celebrity culture. It was a manifestation of a deeply ingrained prejudice, one that existed both within the royal family and in British society at large. It was about race, about class, and about the clash between old-world ideals and the changing face of the modern world. And yet, despite the intense backlash, Meghan remained steadfast. Her decisions, however controversial to some, were rooted in a desire for self-preservation and a better future for her family. But in the eyes of many, that wasn't enough. Her past, her ambitions, and her identity were weaponized against her in ways that were not only unfair but shockingly predictable. From the very beginning, Meghan's experience within the royal family was shaped by expectations that no one could meet, not even someone as accomplished as she was. She was never going to be the royal the media wanted her to be, and that was always going to be used against her. She was too outspoken, too independent, too free-spirited. In a world where conformity and silence were prized above all else, Meghan's refusal to bow to tradition made her an easy target. The irony, of course, is that much of the hate directed at Meghan comes from those who claim to value the monarchy's ideals, those who claim to want the royal family to thrive. The question is, what kind of monarchy do they envision? One where everyone is expected to stay within strict boundaries, where individualism and self-expression are stifled in favor of maintaining an image of perfection. Or one where change, growth, and diversity are embraced as natural components of an evolving institution. In the end, the hatred Meghan faces will continue to be as unfair as it is predictable, but it will also serve as a reminder. It will remind us of the deep divisions that still exist in society, the ways in which the powerful and the privileged often attempt to silence those who threaten their worldview. And it will remind us that, no matter how much someone tries to please or fit in, there will always be those who refuse to accept them for who they are. Meghan Markle's love for cooking is something she's shared with friends and family long before it became a public affair. It's a genuine passion, rooted in her upbringing and her belief in the joy of creating food for others. Whether it's a simple homemade dinner or a more elaborate spread, Meghan has always valued the act of cooking as a way to connect with the people she loves. Far from being a mere publicity stunt or a way to earn money, her enjoyment of the kitchen is a reflection of her authentic nature, a desire to nourish both the body and the soul through the act of preparing meals. Her friends attest to how she takes joy in the entire process, selecting ingredients, experimenting with recipes, and the warmth of sharing a meal together. Cooking for Meghan isn't about grandeur or celebrity, it's about the comfort and camaraderie that come from breaking bread with those closest to her. She has often spoken about how food brings people together and how she loves to create an environment where her guests can relax, laugh, and enjoy each other's company. For Meghan, the kitchen is not a stage for performance but a space where she can be herself, surrounded by the people she cares about. It's an extension of her personality, a way to show love and appreciation, far beyond any cooking shows or public appearances. Even as her personal life has been thrust into the spotlight, Meghan has remained true to her roots when it comes to her passion for cooking. It's clear that, whether she's preparing a casual dinner for friends or sharing a recipe on her platform, the love she has for food and the experience of cooking comes from a place of genuine enjoyment. It's not about fame, fortune, or endorsement deals. It's about a deeper connection to something meaningful, and a desire to share that with the people who matter most to her. Meghan's approach to cooking, free from the constraints of celebrity, shows a side of her that is humble, relatable, and sincere, a stark contrast to the often distorted portrayals of her in the media.